Over here!
Welcome back. So, quick update. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, I'm going to need to leave the planet. They always use that picture.
Now the good news is, I'm very prepared for a situation like this. Although, my rocket scientist did have some concerns.
Alright, look. I normally take them very seriously, and I know they have my best interest at heart. But given my current situation, I really can't push this off very long. So I'm just gonna have to go ahead and launch anyways.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I crash landed, and I survived. A never before seen intro to a video game. But this is where Factorio steps away from the genre. Your playable character here is not concerned with supplies like food and water. He instead takes an interest in all the valuable natural resources in sight. He immediately gets to work crafting drills and furnaces. The materials obtained are invested into boilers to generate electricity so he can power these assembling machines and robotic arms. He expands well beyond his trivial mining operation into a complex facility manufacturing intricate electronic components and prioritizing immediate personal interests and scientific research far above the effects of his creations on the environment or even himself. Progression begins here. The lab processes these peculiar colored liquids into new crafting recipes and more advanced equipment that drive your expansion. As you play, you unlock more complicated technologies, each essential for producing the next science pack. The ultimate goal is to optimize the creation of these science packs, therefore you need to produce all of its ingredients as efficiently as possible. The game has a way of convincing you that you're doing important work, and that everything will somehow only take a few minutes. Try to follow this. You mine copper, iron, coal, and stone. Then the iron and copper are used in furnaces with coal to make plates. These plates are then used in all of these recipes. We need to build this, and then this for this, and then there's this, and then more of this, but then you don't need this, but then you need to make more of this so you can make this, and then you have enough of this, but then there's not enough of this, and then you need this, which I don't really understand, but who does, and then don't forget about this, which goes to this, and then you need this, which somehow makes this, and then... As progression unfolds, focus on advancing your industrialized empire. Yeah, that may come with some consequences on the nearby ecosystem, but ultimately what's happening here is far more important. Worry not about what the haters will say, and instead on what you can do when the haters are no longer around, because you killed them. Kill the haters.
Huh?
You need to leave!
Now, it may seem like you're alone, but trust me, the neighbors come knocking. All you have to do is act like you live in this suburban Texas home, and need to protect your family. This should do the trick. These creatures are called biters, and they're not a big fan of the smell. Now, it's important to remember that when they left their home to attack my shit, they started it. We could have talked this out peacefully, where they would have presented their concerns with my pollution and its effects on their children and landscapes. And I would have killed them with my submachine gun that I just researched with this red liquid. Enemy nests are scattered around the map and represented by these red spots. These nests serve as a home and a spawning point. If a nest exists in your pollution cloud, it will begin absorbing pollution units. But every time a nest does, the biters living there get more and more pissed until a threshold is reached where they send an attack to the source. The good news is, as you research, you're given more fun ways of handling enemy nests. Now do what has to be done to end the war.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
I be popping.
Honestly, I could be researching faster. All I have to do is mine more iron, but there's iron right here. But I mean, then I would have to sit with my train to work. But then once I do that... What is he talking about? I don't know, but he's been like that since he got here. And then once I do that, I can expand my yellow signs effectively, and then I'm set. This should only take me 20 minutes. There is no fully optimized factory. After all, the end game encourages you to never stop expanding. All of these can be researched endlessly, but each tier requires double the science of the previous ones. So the further you go, the more bottlenecks you'll find. Well, maybe this wouldn't be such a concern if your factory didn't fucking suck.
I'm just stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit.
Throughput is the speed at which items move throughout your factory. To get the most out of your belts, you need to plan ahead. A tangled design like this, the infamous spaghetti base, is not sustainable and leads to bottlenecks.
Please help me.
Establishing an organized layout from the start is crucial. My preferred method uses a main bus. In this case, all my most important resources are placed on parallel belts, which act as a foundation for my crafting. When needed, I can easily branch off to either side using splitters and underground belts. This guarantees a reliable and easily expandable factory.
You're literally free, boxed you, dog water, 0 earn, 0 PR, you have no...
Belt balancers use both splitters and underground belts to help evenly distribute items over multiple lanes. This helps prevent a situation where one belt is backed up while the other is being used so much that it's fucking empty. I found a blueprint book on the internet because I'm too smooth-brained to come up with this stuff myself. It has every possible situation you might need a balancer for, so I highly recommend.
You just got coconut mold. Share this with all your friends.
No, we're not going to JCPenney and we aren't going to be making any pretzels. A mall serves as a dedicated area to automate all your most used items. Belts, inserters, assembling machines, power poles, etc. Having a mall makes sure that you're operating at peak laziness. Opening your inventory and crafting it is just disgusting. I learned these concepts as I played and I fucked up. Those improvements across my saves felt good, and it's why this game has become one of my favorites of all time. It starts off fairly simple, but the real challenge emerges as you advance. How effective your late game factory becomes heavily depends on what you planned when you started. Okay, but there is one thing I haven't mentioned yet. Trains are really complicated. Only just recently did I start spending more time trying to understand them. For the first few hundred hours, I used a simple back and forth rail with 2 stations on either end and basic conditions set like leave when cargo full or after time passed. But this is just awful. Having a 2-way track opens up so many possibilities in the mid and late game. Trains are the most efficient way to get your items around, and if you're ever going to want to experience more than the few small ore patches near your starter factory, you're going to have to learn them. Look, in the wise words of this guy, what usually turns most people away from taking the next step with trains are signals. At least for me, understanding how they work and when to use them seemed way more awful than it really was. They split rails up into these colored blocks. Each block has a status, train or no train.
That was easy.
There are 2 types of signals, and they work best when used together. First, the rail signal. These are basically just train stoplights. If a train wants to head into a new block and there's already a train in there, it says, "Wait your fucking turn." Now, train signals are a bit more complicated. What they do is read the status of the next regular signal in the line and reflect that status. The reason you would want to use this is to create a block that some trains can enter and some trains can't. For example, if this rail signal is red, then the train signal is red too. The train is waiting outside of the intersection, which is good because it keeps the intersection clear for the other train which is about to pass through uninterrupted. With these basic concepts, you can create something like this, where these few stations around the map all have their own job. I'm able to connect multiple ore patches to one main location much easier. It may not seem like much, but putting something together to start and just getting it to work is where everyone building stuff like this got started. When playing Factorio, prepare for no real end goal. Prepare for time to pass like you're on this planet from Interstellar. 1 hour here is 7 years for your family. You're gonna log off and look like this when you realize your kids grew old while you were playing. Look, I'm far from the first person to talk about how addictive this game can be. Factorio is this addictive for a couple main reasons. By breaking down the overarching goal of creating an efficient factory into smaller, more achievable goals, like improving yellow signs output, the game provides a sense of purpose and accomplishment.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Completing these tasks not only validates all the time invested, but also leads to direct, observable improvements to the factory. This creates a positive feedback loop where the output of each action reinforces or amplifies the original intention. Spending all that time was not only worth it, but I'll gladly do it again. This perspective is inherently flawed. Factorio is not only constantly introducing unforeseen elements that hinder your A to B progression, but there's also far too many ways you can get distracted. Biters can attack, you can introduce a bottleneck in your iron plates production, use too much power and suddenly everything stops working, etc. In this game, there's always something that slows you down. Remember in the beginning when I said there are very few similarities to other survival games? In Factorio, you do create a rocket, but you don't leave. You watch from the ground as it leaves. If equipped with a very expensive satellite, you're rewarded with yet another science pack, and research continues. You did what had to be done. You killed whoever had to be killed. You being here is no tragedy. This world offers so much more than where you came from. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, react, email, tell your friends, family, doctors, subscribe, and thanks for watching.